Also, quickly moving on to the next question.
Why don't you guys review One Piece instead of Bleach?
I think that's obvious. You've heard my comments on it.
Yeah, I think just to explain, we don't really know that much about the series. I mean, Sven just... Okay, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Sven basically just dislikes the art style, basically.
Yeah, I don't like the art style, and on top of things, I've seen stills of One Piece, and let me tell you, the fan service is ridiculous. Like, worse than Bleach ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is a series where the mangaka has literally found an excuse to make every single female character a walking swimsuit scene. And that alone, paradoxically, turns me off.
Oh dear, but yeah, my opinion is not quite as strong as Sven's, but I see why people like One Piece. I mean, when One Piece is good, it's really good. I have seen like bits of the battles, and I really love like the third fight between Luffy and Crocodile. The battle between Usopp and Luffy, or rather the deathmatch between them, was pretty epic, and I also do like the emotional highs of it. It's just that it's really hard to describe, but the stuff in between, it kind of drains me out. Like, I have tried to give the series a second chance plenty of times before. Like, occasionally, after I've been disappointed by Naruto and Bleach for whatever reason, I have tried to read One Piece, and I can never get back into it. Like, I have several fond memories from the Alabasta arc, and I've seen bits from, what was it, the NL Down arc? The one where Luffy uses Jet Gatling for the first time. I've seen bits of that. Those all look really cool. The problem is the stuff in between has never really caught on with me. Like, I just remember, like, the Alabasta arc just going on for way too long when the characters constantly diverting each other, and basically a lot of stuff happened in Alabasta and a lot of battles, but it just all faded from memory pretty much.
Yeah, trying to speak from an objective standpoint here, I can see why that would be draining, because speaking of arcs going on way too long, Bleach.
Yeah.
That's never a good series to be compared to.
Yeah, so I guess the best way to describe it is One Piece, it is definitely a good series, and I can see why people like it. It's just from my perspective, the peaks are really interesting, but the valleys in between, I kind of just get lost and bored in, pretty much.
Yeah, and me, the art style turns me right the hell off, and the fan service just makes me bury my head in my hands in shame.
Oh, dude. If you want to see bad fan service, love of God, don't watch half of the stuff on Crunchyroll.
Oh god, and you can tell that the mangaka behind Fairy Tail learned some things from the mangaka behind One Piece. Because not only do they have a similar art style, I mean, I prefer Fairy Tails, obviously, it's generally better, but my god, some of the fan service in that series is blatant.
Oh, dude, I'd argue it's kind of even more blatant than One Piece, to be honest.
Oh god, yeah, because you've already gone into detail about that one fight.
Oh, you mean the one fight where two characters with transformation powers just went into a series of fetish costumes? Yeah, that was,
Yeah, and then the whole guild master ordering someone to strip naked.
Yeah, that too. So, yeah, that's the reason why I'm slightly more forgiving of One Piece's fan service. I've seen far worse. Far worse.
Yeah, I suppose I can understand that. And just by the by, say One Piece fans out there, I don't mind you, but the ones that treat One Piece like the shining altar of manga quality, oh, they bug me. It's once again the fan base, kind of like Call of Duty, but sane One Piece fans, I don't hate you. I just hate what you read.
Another one gone. And the final question from Luffy McDuck.
What has been the best Nintendo platform overall, home console or handheld? And by that I mean, which has the best game library and the best controller?
Ooh, that's a good one, because I like the Nintendo 64 a lot, because nostalgia for one, although the controller in hindsight was counterintuitive as hell. The game library was good, I mean, Donkey Kong 64, as mixed as Jonin's feelings may be on that, is at its core a fun game to play. You had Banjo and Kazooie, you had, I guess you could say you had Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I never played that because I was 8.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if you were playing that at 8 years old.
Yeah, I have attentive parents.
Ooh, I'm tied between 3 consoles. I guess it would be the Nintendo GameCube, the Nintendo DS, or the Game Boy Advance. I guess GameCube would have the best controller, I suppose, although I still have a advantage for the other 2 handhelds as well. It's just,
Yeah.
I had a hard time just picking one of those, I'll be honest.
Yeah, personally, out of all of them, I think my overall favorite is the Game Boy Advance, purely because of the game library and the simplicity of the controls, you gotta admit. Because,
that is true.
Let's face it, the Game Boy Advance had the westernized Fire Emblems, it had Pokemon, a lot of Pokemon, it had Shining Force, it had Golden Sun, although I really didn't play Golden Sun.
Yeah, I need to do that too.
It had the Donkey Kong ports, which is how I ever got into that series in the first place. And generally it was a very simple but very fun console.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so I think overall I'll go with that, because when you look back on it, the Nintendo 64 obviously had some severe graphical issues for good reasons, and that controller, I swear, was built for someone with 3 hands.
Yeah, that was an interesting control design.
Our next series of questions comes from Vice of Legends 9001. Firstly, I love your name. Secondly, why did you have to put in a Vegeta reference? First off,
which do you think is better, Oblivion or Skyrim?
I've played
now, I
neither.
think I can safely say that Jonin has never played either of those, because they're on the Xbox and PS3.
Sob.
I, however, recently got my hands on Skyrim. I don't want to review it properly, because I'll be there forever and a day. And I also own Oblivion, so I can very, very informedly say Skyrim all the way. And this preference comes for a multitude of reasons, and I'll just go over a few. 1, the story is way better and way more thought out than Oblivion's. Oblivion's just never really engaged me. 2, the combat system is vastly improved, like, say, archery now has a point. And you get the Fallout series of sneak attacks. And also the magic is, the magic system. It's so ridiculous, but so awesome. Like, you can wield a sword in one hand and wield fireballs in the other, anime style.
Nice.
You can understand why I like that.
Yep.
And 3, Fus Roda is awesome. There you go.
But hey.
Moving on from that, since Jonan obviously can't have an opinion on this one.
What is your opinion on the Mother series? Mother 1, Earthbound, and Mother 3?
My opinion would be, it would be nice if I had the chance to play those games, but I can't, because apparently us Europeans would burn them if we ever got the hands on them. No, I'm not bitter. Why do you think I'm bitter?
And I'm sure I would like those games if I ever played them. So basically the same way.
Yeah, although, actually, that said, Mother 3, I believe there is a translation patch for that. I really should play that one of these days, because people have been recommending it to me like heck, so... Yeah, when I get a free moment, I'll definitely try it.
Yeah. I may eventually. You'll probably hear from me whenever I do. Well, actually, no, this is the last episode, so if I play, you may hear from me, but I don't guarantee I'll remember I played it by the time we do another one of these.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's that out of the way. Sorry for the anticlimax. Number 3.
Which is better, the original Pokemon series or the spin-offs?
Funny we should mention spin-offs earlier.
Yeah. Now, I have to say the original series, and the reason why is that the Pokemon series spin-offs, you get some really good ones, but you also get some really bizarre ones. Like, I really like the stuff like Pokemon Conquest, and people have told me that the Misty Dungeon series is good. However, you also have stuff like Hey You Pikachu, and the Pokemon Channel.
And Pokemon Snap.
I'll get to that later.
Yeah, I just really didn't see the point in that. But overall, I'm in complete agreement with you because Really, as simplistic as the games are and as childish as they can be, as seen by plots before Black and White, you really cannot beat the original series, and plus I really haven't played the spin-offs. I played Mystery Dungeon, but it really didn't engage me. So yeah, moving on.
Out of the last few Mario games that have come out, which one do you like the most and least?
I'm guessing I'm gonna be leading this one. I don't know why.
Yeah, because I think you've played more Mario games than me.
Well, you say that. I don't think Sticker Star has come out here just yet, or if it has, it really hasn't made that much big fanfare in Europe so far, so I can't talk about that. As of the few recent Mario games, the only one I've actually played is Mario Kart 7, which is kind of odd. I really do actually like it, since it has like solid gameplay. The tracks are just amazing. The one thing I will say about the Mario Kart is that I love the track design, and it always seems to get better and better with each and every game, and there were just some really gorgeous looking tracks, especially on the Woohoo Island ones. Those are really damn awesome. The only problem is, I rented that game just to see if I should pick up the whole thing. I decided, well, okay, I'll test the difficulty by playing on mirror mode. I ended up beating all of the cups on it.
Wow, that's easy.
Yeah, normally, like, when I ever try to play, like, the hardest difficulty on Mario Kart, I end up swearing and comparing AI to several different types of feces, but,
Oh, wow. Sounds like me on a bad Team Fortress 2 day.
yeah, so that's normally what happens when I try and play a Mario Kart game on the hardest difficulty, and in Mario Kart 7, I pretty much blazed through it all, so the only two reasons I would have for getting the game would be playing the same tracks over and over and over again, which, yeah, I like the tracks, but I have a feeling I'd get sick of that pretty quickly, or playing it for the online stuff, which, no, just no. No.
Yeah, fair enough. Call me a gamer who kinda lives under a rock, but the most recent Mario game that I've played was New Super Mario Bros. Wii.
Yeah.
And the most recent one that I've really, really liked, was the original New Super Mario Bros. That came out in 2005. So I don't really think my opinion counts on this one.
Yeah. There have also been two main Mario platformers, and I think that's the reason why he's asking this. Super Mario 3D Land and New Super Mario Bros. 2. But the thing is, none of the Mario series have really captured the imagination. Like, ever since I saw the trailers for New Super Mario Bros. 2, nothing made me think, oh, I definitely have to get this game. It just seemed kind of bland, to be honest. I think that's, to go on a slight tangent, the main worry I've had with the Mario series recently is that it tries to play everything safe. There's no great big experimental game changer like there was in Sunshine or Mario Galaxy. It just ends up being safe, nostalgic references over and over again. I mean, I may give New Super Mario Bros. New a chance because that seems to have some interesting ideas, but yeah, that's my main problem with the Mario series at the moment. None of the 3DS games have really grabbed me, or at least made me think I should check this game out.
Again, I only bring that up because it was the last one that I legitimately liked, and that was only for the simplicity of it.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah, the simplicity kind of addicts me at points whenever I am really, really bored.
That's kind of the same reason I play Crazy Taxi, so...
Moving on, because we really haven't played Mario games lately. Fifth question from Vice of Legends.
How many more generations of Pokemon do you think there will be left?
As many generations as Game Freak can make, to be honest.
Pretty much. There's no real other way to put that, because Pokemon's still going strong, so it's all up to them.
I mean, some people have pointed out it's ridiculous to try and keep capturing them all. I think they just need to eventually do what they did in the original Black and White, but take it one step further by just making an entirely new ecosystem of Pokemon and stop trading in between. Because, don't get me wrong, I did like in Black and White 2 mixing up with all the new, but at the same time, I think that's the best way rather than expecting people to capture, like, what was it now, 783 of them?
I would add a caveat to that. If they keep doing it, they really need to get better ideas for Pokemon, because I really don't want to catch a sentient garbage bag.
Fair enough.
Don't get me wrong, some of the designs for Black and White were good, but the sentient garbage bag and sentient chandelier just kind of threw me off. Not to mention the one that is a molecule of DNA.
Fair enough, but let's be brutally honest, there were some really bad designs in a couple of generations, like, let me just see off the top of my head, a sentient pile of grass, a seal named Seal.
True. And Dunsparce exists.
Dunsparce, so, and some people would mention Bidoof, but I really don't quite get what was particularly wrong with that one.
I think it's just the derpiness of it, which I think is actually one of its appeals.
Fair enough.
Oh, and then Shuckle existed.
Oh god, Shuckle. Really, Shuckle. Oh my freaking look.
Yeah, I think we ought to move on from Shuckle.
Yeah. Never thought I'd hear that sentence.
I never thought I'd say that sentence. Now, sixth and final question.
Should Resident Evil games stop being made after 6?
How do I put this? Haven't played the series?
Same here. I've been told Resident Evil 5 was supposed to be the last one, and then 6 continued it, so that kind of seems like a silly move, but hey, if they still got good ideas, then sure, why not?
Yeah, well, personally I've heard that 6 has kind of crashed and burned, but that's another fan base that I'm not a part of, so I really can't give my opinion on it.
Okay, in that case, we've just got 4 more questions to go. These ones come from GameCat16. First question he asks.
You two seem to have similar views on different things. Have you ever disagreed on anything?
Probably, but not majorly. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't talk about horribly contentious things, and our interests seem to be very, very similar. So whenever you cut out things like politics, you don't really get that sort of major disagreement.
True, I mean, we're kind of more mellow, like, yeah, occasionally our opinions diverge on different things, like, we've already had an example in that I'm slightly less volatile towards One Piece than Sven is, and I will also point out right now, I really enjoy Pokemon Snap, you bastard, but anyway.
I didn't really mean that it was bad, I just said I really didn't see the point.
I know, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know, I'm just putting it out there that I just don't see the point of a picture-taking game. It just muddles the mind, but hey, fans can like it if they want.
Yeah, it's kind of the hey, I mean, we're the kind of people who just usually just accept it and move on, pretty much.
Yeah, and really the only points that I play up my volatile opinion toward things, those points are made basically entirely for humor. Except I'm dealing with Ichigo.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, oh dear.
Yeah, like, even though I hate One Piece and always will, my opinion of it is not as explosively trollish as I make it out to be. It's just my opinion. Frankly, I really like playing it up for Jonin's reactions. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, fair enough. Second question, I have a feeling that this is going to be mostly for me.
Seeing as you are both Tick fans, or that guy with the glasses fans, what are your thoughts on To Boldly Flee, assuming you've watched it?
Yep, that's for you, because I have.
I figured. Okay, To Boldly Flee, for those who don't know, it's the 4th year anniversary mini-series for That Guy with the Glasses website, and I will say right off the bat, it is definitely a major step up from Kick-Assia Suburban Nights and the Brawl. I think, yeah, that was the 1st year anniversary. The plot is interesting, and I do like the discussions they have during it itself, the nature of the medium. Like, they have this, like, one interesting discussion of so bad it's good versus genuine art. So in other words, infamy versus inspiration, which is actually a pretty interesting conversation, and the character writing and actual plot moments are definitely a step up. And of course, it's comedy, it's still funny, so that's always good.
As you would hope they would be going for with the genre.
Yeah, and it's now also like little interesting self-aware bits I also like, because as well as that, one of the subplots going on is this sucker bill, which, guess what that's parodying? Go on, guess.
Let me think.
But yeah, there are some interesting conversations, like the one in, I think it was episode 3, they were kind of discussing, will this whole antiquity thing last forever? Because they are actually still aware and point out to the critics that, yeah, this can't last forever. We'll eventually grow older, and even then, that's if someone doesn't come up with a bill that takes us off the internet first. So, yeah, I kind of like the fact that they're being a bit more self-aware in this as well as funny. My main criticism with it, the villains. This miniseries has a lot of villains, and most of them are useless. One of the first major villains we see is the head of said Sucker Bill, and when we first see him, yeah, they do make several jokes at his expense, but they do imply that he's going to be a major force, since he's manipulating the government behind the scenes. He's shown to have a contempt for the critic. He then gets killed off in the second episode, off screen. So... Oh, and by the way, I know I shouldn't really expect subtlety, but really, you've already called the Bill Sucker. You don't need to intensify that by naming the character L.R. Prick. Or Lame R. Prick, sorry.
Oh, wow. I'm not really sure they were going for subtlety with that one.
No, and that's kind of the weakness there. Then the villains they have replacing that, you've got the Executor, who starts off as a good villain, like I said, he makes a very interesting argument for the infamy side of things, like say, yeah, you can make good films, but directors like Uri Ball will just get attention all the time because they make bad and everyone seems to like talking about him. So, he makes good points. The problem is, later on in the film, he basically devolves into... like a series of Star Wars references, and what's hard to even call them references. What I mean is basically a guy who just reenacts the scenes from Star Wars, almost straight word for word, barely any differences between them. Which, yeah,
yeah.
And then you've got Turl and Zod, who don't really resemble their movie counterparts in any way, and frankly are just there for comic relief, and comic relief that's not even as good as the main cast. So the only two effective villains seem to be the plot hole itself, which I won't go into too much details about it, and Mecha-Kara. But even then, you kind of feel that Mecha-Kara's not really doing much. I mean, he's kind of helping with the villain's plan, and it also kind of helps that Linkara himself actually does know how to make someone sinister in their body language. That's the other reason why it seems to work, but even then, he's good, but he doesn't really contribute much to the story, apart from turning certain characters into, well, one RoboCop and the other 7 of 9. The point is, once the interactions with the cast are really good, the villains are just... they don't really come off as a credible threat. They just seem to be kind of there. They exist, and maybe they'll get one or two funny lines, but... I think that's the main drive, is that there are stakes and you do worry about some of the people. The villains don't really generate a lot of that.
Yeah, basically, I've got an analogy I think works for that. Basically, the villains, your average Pokemon villain team. Because they're villains, they're vaguely a threat, but they just kind of exist.
Yeah,
most of the time, they're just an inconvenience as you get to the championship.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it, because there is like a much larger mission going on with them trying to find the plot hole and figure out just what the heck it is and how they stop it. But the villains, on the other hand, don't really provide much. I mean, there's like one subplot involving like the Executioner, but he's really not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, so... they're not really a factor, are they?
Not really. But like I said, overall it is enjoyable, and I think it also is a good end to the Nostalgia Critic as a character. I mean, Doug Walker's still making videos. He's got a new series called Demo Reel, which, before anyone asks, the first episode was okay. I wouldn't say it's anything amazing, but I'm not jumping onto the bandwagon of, oh my god, this sucks, you should go back to Nostalgia Critic, like a good chunk of the fans have, but
yeah, I won't quote the Yahtzee fan clause.
Yeah, so that would be my analysis. Really enjoyable, has many good moments, and definitely a step up and a good end to the Nostalgia Critic, but at the same time, the villains really weren't that good.
And that's fair enough.
Third question.
Do you ever plan to write an internet series, webcomic, or video together?
It's difficult to answer that question because technically, we've already written plenty together. You just don't see it because this isn't the channel for it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to quickly go over some stuff we have done. Whilst technically I wasn't involved in writing, there is a story. If you go on NeoSeeker forums and search for Legacy of the Ancients, you will find a story that was written by Sven and another person, but it's kind of based on a roleplay that me, Sven, and said other person and some more people.
Yeah, basically us, another person, and some more other people.
Yeah, being vague as possible. Wrote ages ago, but Sven and another person named Sang Eclipse basically got together and made an even better version. And if you go onto YouTube and search for Legacy of the Stray Wolf, you'll see me writing a spin-off to that based on one of the characters I originally created, and Sven is a creative consultant on that.
Yes, I quite enjoy that role too because it involves voice acting.
Yeah, so... Those are two things you can check out. As for Definitor Join Team stuff, we do have ideas. They're just in the planning stage and have been there for a while at the moment. I have 2 original series which I wouldn't really put on this channel. In fact, if you look up Legacy of Stray Wolf, you'll find another YouTube channel written by me. No, not written by me.
Owned by you.
Thank you. Which basically... I have 2 channels. This is where I make videos for fun and to sort of concentrate on nerdy things. And I have another channel which is dedicated to my serious attempts at like filmmaking. Stuff where if I wanted to show people my creativity or filmmaking potential, I go, have a look at this side and check it out. Unfortunately, I haven't updated it in donkey's years, so the Legacy of the Stray Wolf is the only thing I could say that's relative to my modern skills, but...
Yeah. All of which can be vouched for by me, Doc Yoshi, and Loopy McDuck, because those 2 came here from there.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the reason for that other channel, and that's where I would eventually post some of the other stuff we're doing, although we did also think of this kind of radio play audience participation thing we may put on Sven's channel, but that's still in the really early stages yet. So far, it's only got as far as, hey, this is an idea we can do, but we haven't developed anything else yet, so...
Yeah, this is an idea, and here is a character. That's all we have.
Yeah, so... That's pretty much it. Everything else, it's kind of been in purgatory, so yeah, we do have ideas, so watch this space, but... It will take a while, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and on my end, it's basically the same. I have a crap load of ideas and stories in progress for just basic, straight-up writing projects. But the issue is I have so many of them that they're always fighting for my constant attention each, and that kind of ruins my attention span and motivation. So I haven't really posted any of my solo projects, some of which Jonin is consultant for.
Yeah.
You hear me talking about the rewrites that I'm doing of Bleach and Naruto. Those 2, as seems to be fitting given the fandoms, are in constant rivalry with each other for my undivided, nerd, fanficking attention. Not to mention all the original stories that I have to write, like I have to, finish Legacy of the Ancients.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're on the finale, dude. Don't keep the audience hanging, for God.
Yeah, it would be way easier to, well, in fairness with Legacy of the Ancients, it would be way easier to finish that if my co-author wasn't ridiculously busy in real life.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep an eye out is all we're saying. We may update on this channel.
Indeed. And at last, the final question.
What is the most dangerous way to play chess?
Going on the musical chess, I'm talking about musical as in the entertainment medium here. Going on that, the most dangerous way to play chess is between the United States and Soviet Russia, wherein foreign relations are at stake.
I would actually say the most dangerous way to play chess is either one where blades slowly close in on you for every turn that passes, or if the kings are armed with plastic explosives that will detonate the instant someone says checkmate.
You know that there is some screwed up manga out there whenever that sounds like a manga concept. Battle Royale meets chess.
Actually, it kind of reminds me of something they probably do on Saw at one point, but anyway.
Oh god, that...
Also in the original version of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well.
Oh god.
Now, point is, that's all the Q&A. Thank you for sending us all those questions, guys.
Yeah, it was a good way to send the questions section off.